Hey, round of applause for Lincoln Curtis Gerald Hawthorne. Appreciate you, dog. Appreciate you. All right, man. Welcome to the show, man. I appreciate you guys coming through tonight. And yeah. So I'm gonna play this clip for y'all. Love you, man. Keep the door open. And yeah, we got new intros, man. He said he wanted to be a performer, so we're gonna start with these 10,000 hours super duper early. All right, we're gonna do it like that. And I just got out the shower. You know how them temperatures clash. And I watched the full clip. Oh my gosh. Man, we never gonna get anywhere, man. Never, ever, man. Everybody will conform for money. Everyone will conform for money, whether you're a boxer, whether you are a political activist. Everyone will conform, man. Man, when y'all hear these clips, man, these motherfuckers, man. I never heard of the guy that told the stories until today. And my gosh, Al Sharpton is a scumbag, dog. Super scumbag. You know, and we're going to play the clip in a second, man. But I don't know what else is going on in boxing. Also want to talk about that rapper in Atlanta. That rapper in Atlanta. Everybody's at fault for that shit. Listen, man, if you don't have hotel money and a girl invites you to her crib on the first date, something wrong with you, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to have hotel money, man. Hotels, what, $100? Well, you get hotels tonight. Where I used to get hotels from? Orbiz. You can find a hotel for under $200, man. You know what I mean? Hotels, you get that. Well, you're gonna have sex at least twice if it's a first night. You know what I mean? Maybe 3 times. You know what I'm saying? And you can't afford $200. She's at fault. Her boyfriend had a key. They only been broken up a week. She knows his temperament. She claims that she was physically assaulted. So obviously, if he will assault her, he's going to shoot a man. You know, a man that hits a woman is truly a coward inside. You know what I mean? They get a thrill off of that. They get a thrill off of that shit, you know, knowing that they got this sense of invincibility, you know what I'm saying? And super duper coward, you know what I'm saying? And then the guy, you know, he might get off. Shit, he might claim self-defense. Shit, that girl might change her tune. If they got kids together and wow, almost happened to you. Shit. Man, don't be going to these girls' houses, man. Hell no. You know what I mean? Don't do it, man. Don't do it. It's definitely not worth it, man. Because you want everything on your terms in situations like that, man. You really can't be taking those risks. It's life threatening, as we see. You know what I mean? It's super duper life threatening. And if you're willing to take a risk from your life for a piece of ass, shit, man, God bless you. I'm gonna tell you that right now. God bless you. Shit. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna pray for you. I don't know if prayer works, but I'm gonna pray for you. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's just a tragedy all the way around. The man has a Lamborghini and he goes to her place. Give me a break. I'm not doing that. I'm just keeping it a buck, you know. And shit. Now he's in a coffin. Man gonna do 25. And she gotta live with that guilt for the rest of her life. Sheesh. Everybody suffers. Everyone suffers, man. What Jay-Z say, no one wins when the family feuds. That's exactly what's happening, man. Another black man gone on some dumb shit. Insecure man, vulnerable woman, a man in these streets not crossing his T's and dotting his I's. Man, it's just, man, it's. Hopefully, when y'all see these situations, y'all really, really learn from these situations, man. Don't make these mistakes that's ultimately, thank you, Jay, that's ultimately costing people their lives. I didn't know the rapper, but he obviously had a big following because I've seen him get reposted on Instagram in people's stories, so he obviously was popular, but man, pussy is a motherfucker, isn't it? Ooh, Golden State just hit a big three. 4:40 left in the third. I mean, we all know pussy's a motherfucker, man. You know what I mean? It definitely can do a doozy on you, man. We've all fall, including myself. We've all fall prey. You know what I mean? But I can honestly say I never ever um uh um slept with a drunk woman first night. Uh because I don't drink. Uh never have. And I think we gotta have a checklist as men, you know, and it's just it's just a tragedy, man. Another black man gone. It's a super duper tragedy, man. But in the meantime, between time, I want to play this clip for y'all, and then we'll spawn off and have a conversation. Let's share the screen. I got to stop it every so often. You know what I mean? But let me share it because this shit is good. Wait till y'all watch this shit. Yeah, it doesn't mean you should take it. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's move on to Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton, I knew, again, back to the late 70s, the way I originally met him. And by the way, he was associated with other guys in my life. A guy in particular by the name of Danny Pagano, who was with another family, but he was a soldier in that family. And Al Sharpton used to answer to him. So I met Al because I was associated.
So this man is like an old mafia guy. You know what I mean? He comes from the families and stuff like that. And he's just sharing this story about, he tells stories. I just found out today. He tells stories about the mafia life. And so there you have it. I got to stop it every so often.
My dad was associated with a company called Spring Records in the record business. Roy and Julie Rifkin were the two owners, and they used to engage Al Sharpton to bring them black talent to their record label.
Al Sharpton was excavating the community from the jump start. You know what I mean? He was putting these artists in these dumbass mafia type contracts, man. And this was before he was an informant. So before he was an informant, he was a terrible man in the community. You know what I mean? And now I don't understand this shit, man. Now he's, oh my God.
And they would actually pay him for it. He was kind of a gun for hire. Al, go out and get me some people, some of your black talent, bring it to the record company. If we sign them, we'll pay you for it. So that's how I originally met Al.
And so basically, if you guys have seen mafia movies, when you get this talent, they can't go anywhere. And if you go anywhere, they're gonna threaten your family. If you owe them money, they're gonna threaten your kid. You know what I mean? You know how the mafia works. I presume that like that's real life. All these mafia movies we've seen as kids, but keep it going.
Met Hal back then, you wouldn't recognize him. He was pretty heavy set, used to wear warm-up suits, had long hair, gold chains around his neck. He was a character. I don't know how much of a reverend he was, but he was certainly a character. So we became friendly during that time. two instances in particular with Reverend Al that I can talk about.
I'm just stopping it. That's all I'm doing is just stopping it. That's all. By the way, this is for like fair use. Is that what it say? Fair use?
One, I had a security guard union that was under my control. A guy by the name of Danny Cunningham operated that union, but it was under my control. Danny was with me. And we had a plan to unionize the security guards in Atlantic City. First, the restaurant and bartender workers, we were going to unionize them also.
Man, Al Sharpton, man. Al Sharpton. Matter of fact, I don't give a fuck, man. Michael, you're a great guy, I presume. I'm just gonna play this shit straight through, okay? If I get a flag, I get a flag. You know what I mean? I don't care. I'm gonna just play it straight through because I want you guys to get full context, okay? And make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. I just subscribed to him today, literally like 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. So I'm just gonna play it straight through. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start it from the beginning. It's about 8 minutes, all right? And we'll talk about it after. And maybe I'll reset it at 10 o'clock. Oh, excuse me. I don't come on that late anymore.
And now let's move on to Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton, I knew, again, back to the mid to the late 70s, the way I originally met him. And by the way, he was associated with other guys in my life. A guy in particular by the name of Danny Pagano, who was with another family, but he was a soldier in that family. And Al Sharpton used to answer to him. So I met Al because I was associated, my dad was associated with a company called Spring Records in the record business. Roy and Julie Rifkin were the two owners. And they used to engage Al Sharpton to bring them black talent to their record label. And they would actually pay him for it. It was kind of a gun for hire. Al, go out and get me some people, some of your black talent, bring it to the record company. If we sign them, we'll pay you for it. So that's how I originally met Al. And if you met Al back then, you wouldn't recognize him. He was pretty heavy set, used to wear warm-up suits, had long hair, gold chains around his neck. He was a character. I don't know how much of a reverend he was, but he was certainly a character. So we became friendly during that time. Two instances in particular with Reverend Al that I can talk about. One, I had a security guard union that was under my control. A guy by the name of Danny Cunningham operated that union, but it was under my control. Danny was with me. And we had a plan to unionize the security guards in Atlantic City. First, the restaurant and bartender workers, we were going to unionize them also. But the real serious play was with the security guards under Danny Cunningham. At that time, Nicky Scarfa, he had some influence in Atlantic City. I met up with Nicky. By the way, many of you have asked me about him. I know his reputation, pretty violent. He and I got along well. I like Nicky a lot. We met with him a couple of times and always got along great. So we were going to unionize them. And what we needed people to picket the hotels. So I go to Al. I said, Al, I need your help. You're going to round up some of your crew, and we're going to picket the hotels in Atlantic City so that we can get the security guards to unionize there. And I'm going to quote this. I don't want to be offensive, but I'm going to quote what Al Sharpton said to me, and you could take this to the bank. He said to me, Michael, you pay me good, and I'll have a few busloads of use the N word, there day and night picketing that building. That was Al Sharpton. He was a gun for hire. Yes, he used his people at that time to make money. That's what Al was all about back then, okay? I'm not going to comment on what he is today. He says he's transformed his life. In many ways, I see, some of the things that he did back then, he seems to be doing today. I'm going to leave it at that because I'm not involved with him anymore. Another situation with Al. I was a subject of an undercover operation called shadow boxing. The FBI had put an undercover operation together where they were trying to see how organized crime was infiltrating professional boxing. The targets of that investigation were Don King and myself, because they knew that I had some influence in professional boxing. My dad did before me, and a lot of my associates did. We were heavily involved in the game. So they put an undercover operation together where an undercover FBI agent by the name of Victor Guerrero, that's the name that he used, came and approached me. And they had taken a guy out of prison by the name of Reggie Barrett. He was in prison, but he was closely associated with Muhammad Ali. So he knew the boxing game. So these two posed as two people that were wealthy that wanted to get into the boxing business. So They had this undercover operation under me for about 7 or 8 months, on me for 7 or 8 months, where they were actually wiring themselves up, taping themselves up. They posed that they were once South American drug dealers, but they hadn't been dealing with drugs anymore, but they had several $1 million in a bank account that I was able to verify. The FBI set up a bank account in the Midwest. They put about 15 million in it, or said there was 15 million in it. And I was around these people for about 7 or 8 months. I didn't trust them 100% yet to bring them to Don King. I was trying to feel them out, trying to see where they really were all about, because I can only trace them back so far. Anyway, they were good. They got me fairly comfortable. After about 8 months, what I learned later on, they had about 80 tape recordings on me. But during this whole time, I brought Al Sharpton into this. And I introduced Sharpton to them, and I said, this is going to be the guy who's going to set up the meeting with Don King when I tell him we're ready to do that. So Al Sharpton was the go-between between King and myself. By the way, everything I'm telling you here was highly publicized. I think 48 hours, Brian Gumble, Real Sports did a whole 15, 20-minute deal on it. It was all over the newspapers. Sports Illustrated did a cover story on it called Shadowboxing. So what I'm telling you now, you can verify. Everything I tell you, you can document at some point. This is all a known fact. So at the appropriate time, I say, Al, okay, I'm comfortable enough to bring these guys to Don King. Let's do it. So Al sets up the meeting with Don King. Don King was associated with some of my mob affiliates over in Cleveland, so he understood the game, the business, so on and so forth. So we go to visit Don King in his offices in Manhattan at the time. Al Sharpton was there. Before I bring Reggie Barrett and Victor into the office with Don, I went and seen Don myself. I said, Al, excuse us for a minute. I want to talk to Don alone. So I said, Don, look, I verified that these guys got $15 million minimum in the bank. They were drug dealers at one time. They claimed they cleaned up their act. I've had them around me for 8 months. I'm fairly comfortable with them, but I cannot trace them any further back than that. So here's what I want you to do. They want to be into the business. They want to invest their money. I know if they're legit, we can use it. We can make some money. But today, I want you to keep everything above board. Don't say anything out of the way. No shady deals. Keep everything straight, 100%. He says to me, I got it, Michael. I bring Victor and Reggie in. We have a meeting. Don is perfect. Explains to them the fight game, the whole bit. Tells them how they get involved, how their investment would be used, the whole bit, right? And we leave. Now, in the interim, okay, because the next point for me was, okay, show me the money. I want you to put it up in a mutual account so that I can show Don that we have it, and we'll take it from there. The FBI was a little bit reluctant about doing that because I don't know if the money really existed or they just made a phony account to verify that it was there. That kind of put a stall on the investigation. But in the interim, Al Sharpton goes up to their offices, Reggie and Victor Guerrero. Remember, Victor Guerrero is an undercover FBI agent. His real name is Victor Quintana, but back then it was Guerrero. And in the meeting, Al Sharpton proposes a drug deal to them. He's got a big cowboy hat on, he's smoking a cigar, and he's talking about drugs in some way. This is all on videotape, and it's been seen on Brian Gumbel's Real Sports. So whatever I'm telling you, again, it's all documented. And it was as a result of this meeting that Al Sharpton became an informant afterwards, because the government came to him and said, hey, you know, you're trying to propose a drug deal, and they turned him into an informant at that time. 100%. Al denies it, and then he admitted, then he denies it. Look, you got to give Al credit. I mean, he is a good talker. Look where he is now, visiting, or he was visiting with Obama. He's made a name for himself. So, hey, if he really has changed his life, who am I to doubt that? Good for him. But I can tell you, I do see similarities between what he's doing now with his Action Network, whatever he calls it, and what he.
And so I have the clip of Al Sharpton in the I'm gonna give it full context so you guys can see it. And this is the first time I'm seeing this right now. So here we go. We're going. This is it. This is it right here.
The Smoking Gun website is reporting that the Reverend Al Sharpton, a.k.a. President Obama's #1 cheerleader, that he worked as an FBI informant spying on New York mob figures back in the 1980s. And the report, which was featured on the cover of today's New York Post, said Sharpton secretly recorded conversations that he had with the mob Earlier today, he responded to those allegations during a press conference. Take a look.
I was not and am not a rat because I wasn't with the rats. I was never told I was an informant with a number. So in my own mind, I was not an informant. I was cooperating with investigations.
Now, tonight, we also have gotten our hands on an HBO sports video of an undercover FBI agent acting as a drug trafficker negotiating a cocaine deal with none other than Al Sharpton himself. Take a look at this.
I can get a for about $35 a kilo. But I gotta get more than one. Right. I mean, if we're gonna do this thing, it's about what's a real. I mean, 10 kilograms is like $350,000. That's a drop in the bucket. We can go bigger. Every kilogram will bring 3,500 kilos. So I'm bringing in 10, you get 3,500. But that's check target. We can. What he's going to do, we're going to do. They can do it, 100 times over. My throat is higher 100 times over.
Now, that video is reportedly from 1983, and after it aired, Al Sharpton threatened to sue HBO for millions of dollars.
Crazy, man. Ain't this shit crazy? And the irony about it is these motherfuckers, man, are just a tragedy, man. You know what I mean? So that basically confirms. I saw one more I wanted to see where it says Al Sharpton admits that he was let me see. Here's it right here. Al Sharpton. I'm just gonna play this real quick. I haven't seen it, so.
Good evening to you. I'm Christine Johnson.
And welcome, everyone. I'm Maurice Dubois. Those stories are straight ahead. But first, after all these years, the Reverend Al Sharpton admits he was an FBI informant.
Yes, he says that he was the cat that got the rats, but others say that Sharpton's secret life was not by choice. CBS 2 political reporter Marcia Kramer has the story.
Michelle Obama probably never knew that one of the guests at her recent White House 50th birthday party was an FBI mafia informant who helped bring down members of the Genovese crime family. Reverend Al Sharpton, now a confidant of both the First Lady and the President and of Mayor Bill de Blasio, has his own unique take on his days as the government's confidential informant number 7.
In my own mind, I was not an informant. I was cooperating with investigations.
The revelations threaten to embarrass Sharpton as he kicks off his National Action Network convention this week with de Blasio and President Obama the headliners. But de Blasio, who calls Sharpton family, is sticking by his buddy.
Doesn't change the relationship one bit. I'm very proud to be his friend. I think he has done a lot of good for the city of New York and for this country. I have the exact same positive view of him I had before.
Sharpton has been dogged for years by reports that he was an FBI informant, helping the government go after boxing promoter Don King and music executives. Now we learn he also went after mobsters, including the legendary Vincent the Chin Gigante, the so-called Oddfather who paraded around in his bathrobe and pajamas. Though he has ducked and dodged questions about whether he wore a wire for the feds, that wasn't possible today since a batch of government documents were made public.
The conversations were recorded.
And there's also the issue of how he became an informant. Some say he was pressured into it after he was caught in a drug sting. This HBO undercover sting video that aired in 2002 shows Sharpton with a cowboy hat pulled down over his bouffant hairdo. Sharpton appears to nod when an agent offers him a cut from future drug sales. But now Sharpton claims he went to the feds for protection from threats from mob-connected music executives and was asked to rat out the bad guys.
They were threatening to kill me.
And while the feds say his information helped bring down guys like Gigante, Sharpton says he didn't know how his information was being used.
I have never met any of these guys. The guy with the pajamas, I don't walk around with guys that walk outside. I never met these guys.
Well, Sharpton says he's not embarrassed by anything that he did. What he is embarrassed about, he says, is how, quote, fat he used to be now that he has reinvented himself as a skinny guy. By the way, sources say the mayor will cut the ribbon tomorrow.
Man, this shit is so sad, man. All this shit is a frost, man. Now we understand what Martin Luther King said. He's led his people into a burning building. Al Sharpton owns the burning building. This man has been leading black people for years, man. And we got the nerve to waste our time on Tekache 6ix9ine. Imagine. This is why I say this, man. Malcolm X said it a gazillion times. We got to take care of our own house. We worrying about a little rapper. We worried about a little rapper, and Al Sharpton is leading us. God dog it, man. This is unbelievable, man. This is unbelievable. Oh, this rapper is a rat. No, your goddamn leader's a rat. Your leader. That's why I don't subscribe to having a leader. I don't mind helping. I don't mind being an asset to a group. Not at all. Not one bit. But a leader? Hell no. This man is a fraud. He said they wanted to kill him, right? And if they wanted to kill him, what do you think they did to the black artists? What do you think they did to the black artists? Do you think they killed their mother? Killed their sister? How many bodies do Al Sharpton have? For real, for real. And when he couldn't come through, he ran to the government. And you can't leave the government. Once you win, you win. It's over. And when a Republican president come in, it's going to go public. Who was the, that's basically what happened. I mean, yeah, that's basically what happened. They released when you're not an ally to them, oh, they're going to embarrass you. And that's exactly what they did. And not only embarrass him, he shouldn't even be. We so foolish, man. We talking about a rapper. And we got a guy that's over here poverty pimping, collecting millions, and building this network of informants. It's a shame, man. Oh man, we so lost. I've always heard it, you know what I mean? But now I've got confirmation, man. If I ever see him, man, he's a fucking rat. He's a rat. And he's more than a rat. He sold his people out. He sold his people out. He is William O'Neill. He is those 5 men from Mosque number 25. That's who he is. And we pump fake and fall for the okie doke every time, man. I wish I had known this during COVID, man. I would be blasting his ass. Blasting his ass every day. But now I got time. Whenever I need something to talk about, Al Sharpton's an agent. You know, we got to get that back in the algorithms. You know what I mean? All of them, man. All of them. He's not working with Barack Obama by accident. Trust me when I say this. That's why they didn't go against him. There's so much money involved in this, man. You're going to come up missing. If you speak out against this, you're going to come up missing, man. It's just sad, man. It's just sad. What a world we live in, man. Where the leaders, the so-called leaders, are working for the government. We never gonna be free. The freest you will ever be. Yeah, man. Please DM it to me, Ryan. Ryan, I appreciate you. Send it to me, man. I'm about to take a deep dive into that, because he also confirmed what we already know. You know, Bob Aaron was caught in early 2000s. And he also confirmed that Don King had inkling on using mob money, mob ties, and all that stuff. You know, Michael did other interviews talking about it. He also claimed the mob killed JFK. If you want it, please link it to me. But you got to. I'm not sure if it's gonna. I'm not sure if it's gonna go through the chat. So you got to DM it to me. Yeah, DM it to me. Silent Heroes, and it's just a tragedy, man. It's really a tragedy that we really ain't took a step forward, because he is our number one leader. He eulogizes every black person that gets killed by a police officer. Him and Benny Crump, Bernie Crump, Michael Crump, Benjamin Crump. Thank you, dog. Him and Benjamin Crump go penguin they ass up and down the avenue. Man, this is a tragedy, man. We've been hoodwinked and bamboozled, man. Malcolm X told us about these people, man. He said the media. And guess what? He's in media now. Why do you think that the George Floyd funeral in Texas turned into a Democratic convention? Do y'all remember that? Every politician in the world gave a speech that day. Every politician. Man, they worse than ambulance chasers, man. They gonna put us in the ambulance. Those poor artists, man. You can't escape the mob if you're an artist. I mean, your life is over. I'm getting out of my contract. Oh, you are? Well, there's your broken arm. How you gonna get out? How you gonna sign another contract with a broken arm? Mr. Brown, Mr. Williams. Shit is crazy, man. Man, we sell each other out for peanuts, man. Peanuts. We got the nerve. I'm just flabbergasted that so many people talked about that Tekashi 6ix9ine is a rat. Who gives a fuck if he's a rat? Who cares? He has no bearing on your life. Are you going to listen to his music or not? What relevance does Tekashi 6ix9ine have in your life? For real, for real. None. He has no relevance. We so ignorant, man. We literally got a government informant that is a leader in the black community that's building a network of informants. I don't know who they all are, but if Barack Obama is a part of it, he knows about. There's no information that Barack Obama doesn't know about Al Sharpton. All right. And that's a fact. But the powers to be say you got to have this man. And now here we are in 2022, gas prices over $7. We're in a recession. We're eliminating the middle class. They're resetting the wealth gap. And we're in the same position we were in. The reason why we have rights for real, is because they need a workforce. It's the same as slavery at the end of the day. Excuse me. Let me omit that shit because there's nothing comparative to slavery. Let me correct that. Nah, that shit is wrong, Fred. There's nothing on earth compared to being a slave. But now we have an opportunity to free ourselves. And I believe one of the most fruitful ways to free ourselves is to financially be independent on some level, to not be dependent upon other people. And I think that's the ticket, man. I really believe that's the ticket, man. And National Action Network, that's the name of it, right? It's this motherfucker. This motherfucker, man. Oh man. I mean, they literally he's literally narrating the activism of this whole era. Al Sharpton. For real, for real. He's literally curating the whole. Man, what a tragedy. Protect your family, man. It all goes back to your last name. Please, I urge y'all, man. Please protect your last name. Take care of your family. You know what I mean? Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't join none of these groups, man. If you want to help out, feel free to help out. But stay separate from these groups, man, because if you don't, you're going to wake up one day and realize that your leader was a fraud. History proves it, right? Elijah Muhammad, Al Sharpton, Martin Luther King before he woke up, you know. It just goes on and on to the break of dawn, you know. I've heard it for a long time, Rachel, but I've never valued Al Sharpton. Even though he's from New York, I've never valued him. So I really didn't care. He has no bearing on my life. I've never Googled to get inspiration or information from Al Sharpton ever in my life. But now I saw this clip on Instagram, and I said, "Holy shit!" And then I had to fact check it, and I was like, "Damn, what a shame! What a fucking shame, man!" Huh. And him and Benjamin Crump about to get all that money from the government. So you know what they do? The deal is already made. So 10 people gets murdered in Buffalo, right? The government already said we're going to give each family $5 million. The family really believe that they're negotiating. They're not negotiating. The deal is already made. They just doing that for the people, like for the audience, for us. What knowledge born Allah said is theater. It's theater. That's all this is. It's theater. And we fall for it. How the hell are we talking about Tekache 6ix9ine and Al Sharpton is drinking black people's blood, man? He wants us to die. He wants us to get murdered. He advocates for police shootings. How was he getting all this time off? How was he able just to pop up and pop in at his... Don't he have a job?
Don't you have a fucking job? I mean, yeah.
Hey, what's up, Kane? What's up?
Oh, hold on, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was gonna Freddie, did you see his Michael Franzese? Have you seen any of his other work or no?
No, that's my first time ever seeing him ever in my life.
No, because I don't know if you looked it up, but he also testified to Congress about boxing as well.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's like one of the most viewed videos ever about like boxing.
Really?
I didn't even know it was him, honestly, until because he did a thing with Sammy the Bull Gravano called Mafia States of America with Patrick Bet David. I don't know if you know what that is.
Mm-mm.
He's like a big entrepreneur that pushes like a guy like you that motivates men, trying to get men to be leaders in the community. So he made like a big project with them talking about the mafia, and like they were talking about boxing and everything as well. How they used to rig fights, how they would tell people to go down in the 10th round or whatever, so they make money on the books. That's mainly what it was just to make money. But yeah, his work is awesome. I don't know, you should for sure check out his interview. He talks about Bob. He talks about Don King a lot in the thing about Congress. And he names fighters too. He names like specific fighters
in front of Congress.
Yeah, that he rigged fights for.
What year was this? Would you say?
Look it up. If you look, because like I'm on the stream, if you could just look up Michael Franzese testifies to Congress about boxing.
Oh, this is good stuff.
It'll be the first thing you'll see him. You'll see him
interview this man.
You'll see him at like he had to be like 30, 35 at the time. You see him like young And mind you, this guy's worth billions at the time.
Oh,
So
Michael Frenzy is worth billions?
Yeah, billions. Because
he is?
he's the highest earning guy ever in the mafia. Besides, like, if you want to say Al Capone, or but like in the modern era, like in like the 80s, 90s, he's the highest earning guy because he did like a sting where he would like fraud the government of gas. Like he wouldn't pay the government like the gas tax.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So he just
20
racked it
minutes.
up.
I can't play it, but it's 20 minutes. I'm definitely going to watch that shit.
And you'll see him like he tested. Everybody asked him, and they're all like super interested. Their Congress is like, they're like shocked, honestly. They're like, he's so truthful about it. Because I mean, you know, these mafia guys, they obviously testify to Congress, but they're obviously not saying the truth.
Wow. So explain to me how he made money off gas again.
What his business line, he had multiple businesses, but his main business was where he, in New York or wherever he was, he would fraud the government where he wouldn't give the government like the gas tax. Like, you know, the government charges a gas tax like 70 cents.
Yeah,
80
sure.
cents. Like he wouldn't pay them. So he would just keep all of it. And mind you, in the 80s and the 70s, like a lot easier with no freaking tracking and everything. So he was literally just frauding up the government with the gas tax. And then he eventually got down, but then all these mafia guys do, they end up not snitching, but like
they all tell on each other.
they were telling on him, so he technically told on, like, he's honestly like, if you listen to him, I mean, all the mafia guys aren't good, but like he's the one that like he really like motivates men, trying to help men like not get in the life he is. Like he motivates guys with business. Like he's a smart guy for sure. Like all
He's
the
a
mafia
preacher
guys,
now?
Yeah, he according to him, he says he's never killed anyone. I mean, I honestly believe him. Because he was like a money guy. Like he wasn't like the guy he wasn't like Sammy the Bull Gravano. Like you can see the clear differences in both. Sammy the Bull Gravano was what's his guy's name? John Gotti's like right hand man. So like he would be like the guy that would kill everyone for him. So like they're two totally different people. So that's why I kind of believe him.
Man, I totally.
He's like a serious preacher. He's like a serious preacher.
He's a Christian now. He's born into life.
He literally born into life. Everything. His YouTube videos are awesome. He always talks about mob and like other good shit too. Political stuff too. Like he's kind of like trying to get into more where you are like balancing his channel with like social issues and his old life. Yeah, but he's a good follow for sure.
Can we watch that video together, man? I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take this video down so I don't get a strike. I want to watch that motherfucking prison video. I mean the video of when he talks to Congress. Damn, 1992. Do y'all want to watch it together, or do y'all want me to talk? I can do anything y'all want me to do.
Not for both.
I really want to. Yeah, I know he's a rat. They all tell on each other. I ain't tripping. I ain't tripping. Watch it. All right, let's watch it. I ain't tripping. I'm not saying I trust the man with my life.
I don't even think he is a rat, because if he was a rat, he wouldn't be alive today.
Exactly. Because I fact checked it before I did. I read some articles, but I ain't watched the videos because it takes, if the video is 20 minutes, you got to spend 20 minutes. But if you get an article, you can read that shit in less than 2 minutes. So, but yeah, Golden State is gonna lose tonight. All right, let me share this shit. We're gonna enjoy this shit together, man. This shit is interesting. Let me get this.
Mr. Franzese, it's the rule of the subcommittee that all witnesses are sworn. So will you please stand and raise your right hand? You swear the testimony you will give this subcommittee will be the testimony you will give this subcommittee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Would you tell who is accompanying you and in what capacity?
Morning, Senator. My name is Bruce Kelton. Morning, Senator. My name is Bruce Kelton. I'm attorney for Mr. Franzese.
Yeah, I assume you're not going to answer any questions.
No, I'm not.
All right, Mr. Franzese, if you would proceed with your statement.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, Senator Roth, and members of the subcommittee, my name is Michael Franzese. I am here today to testify about the ties between organized crime and professional boxing, a subject which I can discuss based on a great deal of first-hand knowledge since I was involved in both. I was a capo in the Colombo La Cosa Nostra crime family. My father was at one time the underboss. It was through my father that my brother and I got interested in professional boxing. My father was an amateur boxer and maintained a strong interest, both sporting and business, in boxing. He owned interests in several boxers, including Rocky Graziano, and was involved in business deals with several boxing promoters. When I was inducted into the Colombo family on October 31st, 1975, I was assigned initially to Andrew Russo, one of the cop regimes. Russo is a first cousin to current family boss, Carmine Persico Jr., and at the time of my induction, he served as an acting boss to then family boss, Thomas DeBella. At that time, Russo owned a middleweight boxer named Vito Antifermo, who eventually became the middleweight champion. Myself and other family members were often told in advance what the outcome would be of many of Antifermo's fights. This enabled us to bet successfully on these bouts. On occasion, I was present at Monty's restaurant in Brooklyn when Russo would meet with other managers and fight promoters regarding Antifermo's opponents. The bouts would be arranged and certain family members would be assured of the outcome. However, when it came time for Vito to fight Marvelous Marvin Hagler for their first title bout at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, we were told the outcome was not predetermined and that we were on our own with regard to any bets we might place. Both myself and Russo and about 10 other Colombo family members attended the fight and the post-victory party. Actors James Caan and Burt Young also attended the party with us, since both are friends of Russo and other family members. I also maintained a business in professional boxing, an interest in professional boxing. In 1982 and 1983, I owned an 8% interest along with an associate in a middleweight fighter by the name of Davey Moore. Owning a fighter did not always result in our acting in his best interests or in the interests of professional boxing. For example, on June 16, 1983, Moore was scheduled to fight Roberto Duran. Davey was not in the best of shape physically, and he wanted to have the fight rescheduled. In fact, the owners were of the opinion that Moore had no chance to beat Duran in the condition he was in. Since betting against him in this case would be a sure win, the decision was made to allow the fight to go on as scheduled. The fight took place, bets were placed, and the outcome was as predicted. Both myself and my associates collected our winnings. While I do not know specific details as to how Moore was able to pass the physical, I was told by my associate not to be concerned about problems with the State Boxing Commission, that everything would be taken care of. Obviously, it was. In 1983, Chet Cummings, a New York boxing promoter and longtime acquaintance of my father's, was approached by Bobby and Victor Guerrera, who used the name Victor Quintana, to help arrange a meeting with Don King for the purposes of discussing the possibility of co-promoting some major boxing events. Unbeknownst to all of us at the time, Guerrero was an undercover FBI agent and Bobby an undercover informant working a sting operation directed at professional boxing. They told Cummings they had a substantial amount of money to invest in this deal. Aware of my father's connection to organized crime, Cummings introduced Guerrero and Bobby to my father with the intention of having him arrange a meeting for the pair with Don King. My father, in turn, introduced them to me. Up until that time, I had never met with King personally, although I had been in his presence on one prior occasion. My father knew I had not met King, however, he knew I would be able to make contact with him either through family connections or through some of my own contacts. I agreed to meet with Guerrero and Bobby for the purpose of arranging a meeting between the parties. At my initial meeting with Guerrero and Bobby, they told me they wanted to launder a great deal of money. They had accumulated a great deal of money. They had accumulated dealing in narcotics in South America. They assured me, however, that they were no longer in the drug business and that they wanted to launder their money so it could be invested into legitimate businesses here in the United States. In their view, co-promoting professional boxing events was the perfect vehicle for such a purpose, and Don King was the ideal promoter. They figured that co-promoting major events with King could enable them to launder millions of dollars on a single event. Although I had never done business with King in the past, I understood through conversations with other family members that he had no problem working with organized crime guys. Furthermore, I recalled attending a meeting in or about the year 1976 where Paul Castellano, then boss of the Gambino family, and Thomas DeBella, boss of the Colombo family, met with King and berated him regarding certain business dealings. While I do not recall the specific details, I do remember that it involved King's knowing the outcome of fights in advance because he owned both fighters. I also recall DeBella saying that King assured him that the families would not lose any money on whatever deals they had going together. At subsequent meetings with Guerrero and Bobby, I agreed to arrange a meeting with King. I explained to them that he had connections to a family other than my own, and that protocol would require me to obtain approval from the leadership of that family. The family operated out of Cleveland. They apparently understood. The next step for me was to place the entire transaction on record with the leadership of my own family. At the time, if I recall, Carmine Persico Jr., Colombo family boss, was unavailable due to his imprisonment or to strict supervision he was under from the Department of Probation. In his absence, I met with his son, Alphonse Aliboy Persico, and Joe Tomasello, both of whom were family capos. I was given their blessing to proceed with the deal. Through prior conversations and business dealings with Tom Corky Vastola, a DeCavalcanti family soldier, I was aware that he had done business with King in the past. I intended to use him as a liaison to the Cleveland family to clear the way for the deal to move forward. I arranged a meeting with Vastola and his capo, Jimmy Rotunda, at Gargiulio's restaurant on Coney Island. I brought Guerrero and Bobby with me. Initially, I sat down privately with Rotunda and Vastola and briefed them on the details while Guerrero and Bobby waited at another table. I made it clear to them that I was only able to qualify these men to a point and that the conversation should proceed cautiously regarding the legitimacy of the transaction. Guerrero was then summoned to the table and asked how much money he was prepared to invest. He was told that dealing with King was playing in the big leagues and that King would not be interested in dealing in small change. Guerrero said he had $3 million to invest initially. The amount was satisfactory, and the DeCavalcantis agreed to contact the Cleveland family. Within a short time of the meeting, I was contacted by Vastola and told the Cleveland family approved my going forward. The next step was to arrange a meeting with King, having received the blessings of all the relevant parties. While at the offices of Spring Records in Manhattan, I mentioned to both Roy and Julie Rifkin, who were longtime family friends and business associates in the music industry, that I was going to reach out for Don King. They suggested that I go through the Reverend Al Sharpton, since he often boasted of having a close relationship with King. I knew Sharpton and was aware that he was associated with people in the Genovese family, in particular with family soldier Danny Pagano. I met with Pagano and explained the co-promotion deal. I told him if Sharpton could make it fly with King, that I would cut him in for a piece of the action. Sharpton, in turn, would take care of Pagano and the Genovese family. Pagano said it was fine for me to go through Sharpton. At this point, I anticipated the financial arrangement to add up to a 50-50 split between King and Guerrero. I, in turn, would receive 50% of Guerrero's cut, out of which I would take care of my family and Sharpton. It was my understanding that the Cleveland family would receive a share out of King's end of the deal. I then met with Reverend Sharpton, who had been briefed on the details by Pagano. He agreed to arrange the meeting with King. Prior to introducing him to Guerrero and Bobby, I explained to him that I could only qualify the two co-promoters to a point and that he should inform King to proceed cautiously if he agrees to meet with them, as if he were talking to FBI agents. Sharpton reached out for King, explained the situation, and King agreed to meet with us all. The meeting took place on January 12, 1983, at King's Manhattan offices. Sharpton, Guerrero, Bobby, King, and myself attended. Initially, I met privately with King. I explained to him that the two were ex-narcotics dealers in South America and that they wanted to launder a substantial amount of money by doing co-promotion deals with him. I explained that they would invest the money and expect a 50% split with him, and that I in turn would receive a 50% split of their end. I informed him I had touched base with the Cleveland family on the transaction, and he was aware of that. I also repeated to King what I had told Sharpton, that I could only qualify these guys to a point, and until we can get more comfortable with them, speak to them as if he were talking to FBI agents. We further talked about licensing the promoters in the various states the bouts might be held. I told King they had already acquired a license in New Jersey through a friend of mine. King told me not to worry about licenses because he could get them licensed in any state. I made him understand that my family was very interested in seeing this deal go forward, and that if it proceeded successfully, that I too had a substantial amount of cash to invest in his promotions. King assured me that I should not be concerned about losing money on any family situation. Having made all of this clear between us, we invited everyone in for the meeting. At the general meeting among King, Sharpton, Guerrero, Bobby, and myself, it was agreed that the co-promotion would go forward. The next step was for Guerrero and Bobby to come up with the money. For reasons I am unaware of, the money never came forward. As far as all of the other principals to this deal, including Don King, were concerned, the deal was ready to proceed. As you can see, the preparations for this single deal involved members of 4 organized crime families: the Colombo, the DeCavalcanti, the Genovese, and the Cleveland families, along with boxing's leading promoter. The very nature of the sport, the fact that many of its major participants, from the fighters themselves to their managers and trainers to some of the top promoters, have their origins in the streets, makes professional boxing a prime target for organized crime. Due to their backgrounds, it makes it relatively easy in many cases for organized crime figures to deal with many of those people associated with the sport. Traditionally, organized crime has been attracted to boxing because of the money to be made gambling on fights. It has been able to exert a significant amount of control and influence over the people in control of the sport. In recent years, the attraction has increased due to the huge amount of money that can now be made by controlling major fighters and the rights to promote their events. In my opinion, professional boxing will always hold a major interest for members of organized crime. However, it has been my experience in recent years that organized crime figures are becoming increasingly more reluctant to get involved in enterprises or activities that are in some way monitored or controlled by the federal government. This is due to the great amount of pressure the federal government has placed on organized crime in the past decade and the relative degree of success it has had in prosecuting many family members. Therefore, any federal involvement in boxing is likely to result in less organized crime involvement in the sport. I hope I have clarified the picture with regard to my involvement and that of the various organized crime families in professional boxing today. I will be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Mr. Franzese, when you first met with the undercover team, they told you they wanted to launder drug money. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yet the illicit source of their money did not deter you from proceeding with the deal.
That's correct.
You testified that you also informed King during your private meeting that the deal was to be done using drug money that the undercover team wanted to launder through King. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Did King object to the illicit source of the money?
No, he did not.
Did King make any specific comment regarding the illicit source of the money?
No.
Did King object to being used to launder illegal drug proceeds?
No, he didn't.
Did he express any reservations whatsoever about doing this deal?
None that I could recall, no.
You testified that you also told King that Guerrero and Barrett were licensed promoters in New Jersey. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know how they obtained their New Jersey promoter licenses, and were they obtained lawfully?
I do know how they were obtained. There was Chet Cummings, who I had mentioned earlier, had a connection with a fellow, I believe, by the name of Bob Lee. And he was able to license these fellas for a price. And I know that they paid to have this license.
How do you know that?
I was told this from Chet Cummings, and I had prior knowledge of other licenses that they were able to obtain.
Now, you said you were a capo in the Columbia family. Are you still organized? Are you still a member of organized crime?
No, I'm not.
When were you inducted into the Colombo family, and can you describe your induction ceremony?
I was inducted in 1975. It was Halloween night, and it was a ceremony that I guess it has been described in the past, but was a certain oath that I had to take and a certain procedure that was followed.
I'm going to ask a couple more questions, and I'll yield to Mr. When you were inducted into the Colombo family, as you stated you were, it's my understanding that a person cannot resign from the mob, yet that is what you say you have done. How were you able to accomplish this?
Well, it's true you can't resign from the mob, and I never formally handed in a resignation. I just chose not to be involved anymore and sort of went my own way.
Are you aware of any threats made against you as a result of your leaving the mob?
Yes, I have been made aware of threats.
In your statement, you said that extensive betting occurred by organized crime on the fights of certain boxers because you had inside information. How much money are we talking about being bet on these fights?
Oh, several $1,000s. I remember bets being placed as much as $50,000 to $100,000 on a fight on a single person.
Now, you stated that Andrew Russo, a capo and one-time acting boss of the Colombo family, owned boxer Vito Altofermo.
Correct.
Was Russo the manager of record?
I don't believe so, no.
But Russo controlled him and called the shots, even though he was not listed as the manager of record?
That's correct, yes.
Was it well known within boxing that Russo controlled Altofermo?
Yes, it was pretty wide out in the open.
Now, I understand that he has embarked on an acting career. Are you familiar with any of his recent roles?
Other than that of The Godfather 3, no.
What did he play in that role?
I think he was a bodyguard.
Now, in addition to the boxer you identified, can you recall any other boxers who fight you bet on with inside information? What were the outcome of both of these fights and your bets?
Well, other than the Davey Moore fight, and I had certain information on the Jerry Cooney fight when he fought with Larry Holmes, and we were aware of the outcome of that fight in advance.
How did you know that information?
Through direct information from Jerry Cooney.
Oh! Did you win a lot of money?
Yes.
How much?
About $30,000.
You stated that you attended a meeting in 1976 where two organized crime bosses called King on the Carpet.
Damn.
Was that because a boxing match did not turn out as planned, even though King controlled both boxers in the match?
It was something related to that, yes.
And how did King resolve the situation?
Well, by the end of the meeting, I was told.
Man, that shit is good, man. It's obviously longer, man. Damn. He said Jerry Cooney fixed the fight. Wow. Man,
Who's
once
Jerry
you
Cooney, if I can ask?
yeah, once you in, man. Like, oh my gosh. Like the same thing with Al Sharpton, the same thing with him. Once you in, you in. They got you by the balls, man. You either snitch or do life. Shit. And they keep Al Sharpton in that position to keep us docile and tame and cooperative and keep on marching and keep on tweeting. My heavens. My heavens, man. Boxing is just a tragedy, man. It's a tragedy.
He gave out good info in that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he proved. And if anybody thought the Al Sharpton stuff wasn't real, he said it right there too.
Say it again.
No, I said if anybody thought that whatever he was saying about Al Sharpton was fake, I mean, he said it right there out loud in front of the whole world.
Man. Wow. This whole shit is a frost. I wonder how many deals Bob Arum and Don King made. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Shit. That's why these promoters want both fighters. They get paid on both ends. Man, I want to interview him. I really do. I want to know all that shit. Have it for my platform. Yeah, feel free to call in and beam in. If you guys want to beam in, you're more than welcome to, man. Wow. It's sobering now. It's like, damn, how many fights have I watched that's been fixed? You know? Too many to count. So Jerry Cooney laid an egg, huh? Not that he was gonna win that fight anyway, right? Damn. Man, we so entangled in this weave, man. It's almost like, damn. Focus on yourself, man. Focus on yourself. Stay out the way. Be honest. I assume move with integrity, and you won't have to worry about nothing like this, man. You know, you don't, because Al Sharpton is leading millions of black people, man. Thousands of black people. I'm the answer. I'm the truth. This is what we got to do. We got to march. We got to join hands. We got to sing the old Negro spiritual. If I can lose 100 pounds, so can you. What Jay-Z said, Al Sharpton in the corner taking selfies. He doing more than taking selfies. This motherfucker done sold black people out, man. And you know what somebody gonna say? Why you hating on a black man? We just saw him make a cocaine deal, and he get $3,500 per key. And now he's leading black people, man. And people gonna say, well, Malcolm X did it. It's nothing. It's not the same, man. He's a rat. Malcolm X had the genius enough to record the FBI calling him on his phone. Yep, Jesse Jackson, all of them. It's all of them. Rainbow Jesse. What was it? The Rainbow Coalition? Run Jesse Run. Y'all remember that? Man, all that's fake. All that is fake. They used Jesse to get the black vote out of the election. He can't win. The Republicans was probably paying him. Who was Reagan running against as the primary? Who was Reagan running against? I'm telling you, they were funding. They had to be. Now that you see how this world plays out, the Republicans made sure that Jesse Jackson was he split the vote. Because I bet 95% of black people voted for Jesse. Run, Jesse, run. We can do this, man. Wasn't that his quote? His slogan, run, Jesse, run. Gerald Ford. Really? That late in the game? Gerald Ford? Really? 80 to 88? Wow. Interesting. He's still alive, too. Man, they split this cake up so good, man. They split this cake up. And then when you look at boxing, it's the same thing. You know, people, whether it's media, whether it's fighters, or whether it's fans, whether it's whoever, we'll just talk about boxing as a whole. Carter. Sure was Carter in 84. That's who it was, Carter. I remember his hair. If you put money on the table, Jimmy Carter, if you put money on the table, integrity goes out the window. That's a guarantee. We looking at it in real time right now. We looking at it in real time. Bob Arum was a racist in January. He's a great promoter in May. Al Sharpton was blackity black, and now he's a government informant. And now they keep tabs on him because he has a pulse, and they keep his voice alive. These are all facts. That's how Reagan became president. He didn't have the black vote or the minority vote, because I'm willing to bet the Puerto Ricans voted with the blacks, and now he's stuck. Why you think they killed Martin Luther King and haven't killed Farrakhan or Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson? Martin Luther King wouldn't go back. He said, I woke up. Nah. Al Sharpton has never said, I led my people to a burning building. He just said, man, where's the next check coming from? Have you ever thought, how was he getting paid? How has he got all this money? MSNBC is not a job that pays $1 million. Man. Wow. Boy, they got this machine. They are a well-oiled machine. Well-oiled. I mean, it's just, and then it falls into the common folks, right? We worked for a boss for 30 years. We do what we need to do to retire. If I could just hang in just 10 more years. If I could just hang in just 5 more years, I can get my retirement and my Social Security, and I'll be good. Pay off my house in 5 years, and that's for real. Al Sharpton is on the Martin Luther King tour. Up until 66, somewhere in there. He's on the same tour. The same exact tour. He show up, a check is there. He don't know where he got it from. and you know what we say? Oh man, He black, man. Hey, brother. That's a black man. We gotta shut up. We gotta go along. Hey, black man. Yeah, brother. Yeah, right on. Tell the truth, brother. That's what we gotta do, man. We gotta stick by one another. Everybody can go. Shit. Why do you think Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump shows up? Everything black. Everything black. This man shows up. I'm gonna take you out, Kane. Let me know when you're ready to come back in. What's up, Rob?
Man, what's going on, bro? I hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah, we hear you.
I'm on my whisper stuff. Just got the little man to sleep, but
Okay. That's what's up.
I enjoyed those videos, man. Thank you for choosing to play that because I was gonna go watch it as soon as you ended because I've been
me,
following Mike.
Me too. I couldn't wait neither.
I've been following Mike for a minute, and it's truly fascinating. I respect his intellect, but the guy earlier went into it. I don't want to regurgitate what he was saying, but about Al, man, look, to me, Al is the quintessential example of the black baby boomer, and just kind of where they have us now and why we're in this place. And I see, and I agree with you about how well he's been used. He's such a useful tool to white supremacy. And I believe, like the rest of the black baby boomers who are tools right now, most of them I find on Sirius XM on the Urban View station. I'm a truck driver, so I'm often just listening. I catch up on all your stuff while I'm out there on the road. And I just kind of go through and just listening. Listen, yeah, man, I'll try to support, bro. But when I listen to these people, like you said, they are just the Pied Pipers of just lulling everyone to sleep, keeping everyone's critical thinking ability docile, and just want everybody to stay prayed up and vote Democrat. And what's going on now, and it's just truly my opinion, what I really do believe is happening is their job is to milk every vote they can out of the baby boomers until they die. And by that time, those of us who are left have been successfully replaced by immigrants at that point. It'll be the same thing you see in Major League Baseball. I really do believe that is what the plan has been, because by the time 1970 hit, every real black person was either dead, in prison, or had fled the country for their own good. And so from 1970 forward, when I look back, that's when they started definitely using entertainment in the movies, because immediately we were inundated with Superfly, go enjoy and segregation. Go you find you a white woman and look at this pimp and what he doing out there. Look at this. You know you want this. And so you fast forward to the 80s, and Joe does his thing with the crack. After everybody left the heroin, they introduced crack to us. And so you just fast forward, you got the same baby boomers who were here from the 70s, and all of them were cowards, and they just partied through the 70s and went to prison in the 80s, or were just the super bougie people who just felt that if they just got degrees some kind of way, that was going to lift the rest of the black people in their neighborhood. You had that group too, simultaneously at the same time. But with the Al's and the Tamika Mallory's, who I put in the chat earlier, her parents have worked for the Action Network for many years, and who is next in line to just be the ambulance chaser running out there? And I just think that's what they're doing, bro. And thankfully, we have this. We have YouTube and all this stuff in the 70s to expose Al. And you're right, Brian. If you had this information when COVID first popped off, I salivate thinking about how you would have hit us with this, man. But look, best of luck lining up an interview with Michael, bro, because I think that would really, because the stuff you always are hitting us with about the boxing just in general. Bro, look, let me tell you how good you are with it, and salute to you. I don't really follow boxing like that, and I don't miss anything that you throw out there. Like that's how, and you keep it going, dude. I wish you the best with it, and for the rest of everybody else that's listening, man, just keep that critical thinking going, because cognitive dissonance is killing more black folks than blood pressure all day.
Man,
Hey, I'm gonna keep
man.
listening, bro. But hang in there, keep doing your thing, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you, dog. Yeah. Cognizant is like, I got that sugar. Hey, let me tell you something too. I've never said this publicly, but I've thought it a million times. Our grandparents were cowards. Cowards. Our grandparents, they loved us. I'm not talking about do they love their grandkids but they were go along, get along people. You got to play along with the white man. You gotta play their game. You got to say yes sir, no sir. You got to act like them when you got to act respectfully when they show up. You got to stand up upright. You know, our black folks, our black grandparents got a lot of cowardness in them. You know, and they acted in fear. I'm not going to say they believed it. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but they outwardly acted inferior to the white man. I'm talking about on a macro level, not on the individual level. Because when you read these books, we march. The answer is we got to be a politician too. Why we got to be a politician too? Why we can't create our own network? You know what I'm saying? Like, history is going to prove that the baby boomers, World War II babies, cowards, straight cowards. And not cowards meaning that they can't raise a family. That's not where I'm going. Cowards meaning they marched and marched. They joined the Nation of Islam. They said, let's pray. God went and destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, and your grandma said, let's pray. God said, you either for me or against me, and your grandma and grandfather said, let's pray. Excuse me, our grandparents said, let's pray. Our grandparents said, let's vote. We got to vote, baby. Our grandparents said, go get that job at the government. Don't be an entrepreneur. Go get in the hospitality. Go get in the hospitality industry. Go work for the post office. Is it still the number one employer of black people, the U.S. Post Office? Go get that government job, baby. You gotta get that retirement. You gotta stay there. You gotta go get a job. Now you can't be an entrepreneur because the white man gonna take it. You can't be successful, man. Get something that's steady. Get something that's firm. You gotta raise your kids. You gotta protect your family. You know what I'm saying? Which led to white infiltration. There was a transition between the 1950 and 19 to the death of, I would say between 1950 to 1968. Let's say 1950. That 20-year window. That 20-year window flip-flopped black people. We became inferior. So white ideals infiltrated our ideology. So guess what we wanted to be more like? We want to be more white. Because you know what our grandparents said? Shut up. You don't talk to the white man like that. You see it in all the books. I know many of us is all well read. I'm not just talking about the white man's history. Go read the autobiographies of your favorite black people and listen what their parents told them. And guess what happened? Integration. We started straightening our hair. Black men started getting fades and haircuts. Black women started getting weaves and conks. They called it conks back then. Now they call them perms. The Little Rock Nine happened, and we wanted to be taught by them. So guess what we lost? We lost Marcus Garvey. We lost Nat Turner. And the list goes Ida B. Wells, Mary McLeod Bethune. We lost that. We lost their courage. And we picked up a white man's book. And all that togetherness, all that the femininity that our grandparents had, and grandpa went and worked. He had a shoe shine company. He was a butcher. Grandpa was a butcher. Grandpa knew how to build a house. Grandpa knew how to shine shoes. Grandpa knew how to hunt and gather. And then we became industrialized. We fell in love with Gucci. We wanted that big, long Cadillac. They threw us in the assembly line in Detroit, Ohio, all in that Midwest area, in them rural areas. They had those plants popping up. And then we joined the oil factories, the car industry. And Henry Ford became a billionaire. The Vanderbilt family became billionaires. The Rockefeller families became billionaires. You see where I'm going? In 1955, the feminist movement and the government welfare programs did. See, I said that 20-year window. Let me read your full context. Thank you, Dana. In 1955, the feminist movement and the government welfare programs did the Black Families Unit in before 55 and had the highest percentage of marriage above every. Yeah. Don't you know, in the 50s, black people had a higher marriage rate than white people? It was in the high 70s, low 80s. Now it literally done flip-flopped. It done did a back foot. We going backwards, man. Now 70% of us aren't married. Now we stuck. Now our integrity is high because we act white. Fred, dumbass, went to a white college. I'm talking about me. I didn't have to go to college. I could have took out a loan at 20, fixed my credit. If I would have known about credit, fixed my credit, took out $100,000 loan, I would have been a millionaire by 31. I ain't got to go to no white man's college and give him $200,000. But that's how they recycle the money. That's how they indoctrinate you. That's real deal. Why you think Warren Buffett was at Floyd's fight against Manny Pacquiao? OPMs. Warren Buffett know other people's money. Floyd Mayweather called him his best friend. How the fuck is that 90-year-old man your best friend? Man, he don't give two smacks about you. He want that $150 million you about to get as soon as you walk out of that ring. That's what he wanted. Floyd, dumbass, didn't get it. Now, our grandparents loved us. They understood family values, but they integrated us. And then they killed the man that would have led us out of integration. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X would have led us out of integration. Elijah Muhammad didn't do it. Whoever the most famous pastor didn't do it. We wanted to be more like them. We said, fuck the Negro League. Let's play Major League Baseball. Fuck the ABA. Let's go to the NBA. You see how all this backfired? And then marriage rates drop. And now instead of running Papa's cobbler shack barbecue spot, they son either goes to college or works in a government building or goes and your daughter goes and works in the hospitality industry or the US Post Office. And then integration comes. And black people black people think that they're more white than black. So you know what they do? They said the hospitality business is beneath us. So the migrant workers, they said, shit, I'd rather work in a hotel than pick strawberries. So the migrant workers take over the hospitality industry. It's all in the history. It's all in history. And if you look at it objectively, this is the truth. Shirley Chisholm wanted to be a politician because her grandparents integrated. Jackie Robinson wanted to go to where? Right, exactly. Major League Baseball. Now we look back in 2022. It's one of the worst things that ever happened to us. Jackie Robinson is literally one of the worst things that ever happened to us. Huh. He didn't know, though. I'm not blaming him. But like I say about this platform, history will prove me right or history will prove me wrong. And that's for y'all, and that's for history to decide. But these videos gonna be here forever. Ever. Yeah. But when you look at this shit from 50,000 feet, you see the truth. They done bamboozled us with these algorithms to talk about the Tekashi 6ix9ine. Can you believe that shit? Why the fuck we talking about? I don't know. I don't have conversations about Tekashi 6ix9ine. When we got Al Sharpton among us. And his whole National Action Network. Craziness, man. What's up, Israel? What's up? Nah, Jacket. King Israel, what's up? All right. If I kick you out, you'll know. Yeah, man. It's Sharp Cool, man. It's just amazing, man, when we look at this shit, man. Raise your family, man. Raise your family. And I would suggest try and get 30% of your income independent. 30%. 30%. That way you got some money coming in. If you get kicked out of your house, you lose your house, at least you got money coming in. You can sleep in your car. You know, I had to do it. And you still got money coming in and you just build off that 30%, and there's nothing wrong with having a job, but just make sure that you can get, I would say 30% is a good number because you can build off of that 30%, as I just mentioned, but yeah, man, boy, this integration got us in a doozy. What's up, Easy?
What's good with you, bro?
Hey, how you feel, dog?
Man, I'm good. I just honestly, I didn't even know what your channel was. I just seen it appears that you was holding Al Sharpton accountable. I was like, I don't care what what his views is, I gotta click on it. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it. Welcome to
the show.
Appreciate you. Got my board back.
Oh snap! You rocking over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, and I don't want to be off topic. I really just seen the
anyways.
thumbnail. So if you was there a particular direction that you was going with the story?
Yeah, we were. I've always heard Al Sharpton was an informant, right? But I've never done any research because I just never cared about him. Never cared. I never valued what he said. But there was this video on Instagram that's going viral on Instagram, and I was like, hold up, let me do some research on this. And come to find out, that motherfucker worked for the feds, man. And,
yeah, this is proven fact, because I know there's a lot of, you know how we are, you know, and I'm a Black American, so you know, when I'm critical of my people, I'm doing it constructively, not on no coon stuff, not to tear them down and say this other ethnic group is better. But Al Sharpton has been a straight detriment to our community. He has been a and anything that's a detriment to our community is a detriment to society, because people think that, oh, it's the funny people that say, oh, why you got to make it about race, and we're all Americans, then you will want to, you know, repair, you know, the most broken parts of society, the most broken communities and population. And all Al Sharpton does is just wag his finger at Black folks, you know, and say that you should just vote for Democrats unquestioned. He was an FBI informant, and you can tell some people and they still will say, well, at least he's not a Republican. I'm not a Republican or Democrat. I don't think Black people should be pledging any allegiance to a specific party. They need to be vying for your vote. Quid pro quo. No tangibles, no vote. Oh, don't talk like that. The national election doesn't matter anyways. It's more of your local elections. And what are people doing in a local election? Don't know who their mayor is. Don't know who their governor is. You know what I mean? So it's like you trying to vote for the president like it's the end all be all. If you want to get political, you run for Congress. You know, you may not win, but if you could rally your people to be more, you know, less politically inept, we wouldn't have Al Sharptons like Roland Martins. I seen a video where after that Buffalo shooting, Al Sharpton was at the funeral talking to the Black people, and he somehow lumped in Asians, he lumped in Hispanics, he lumped in LGBT. We got a 10 or 11 slain Black people by white supremacists that went there specifically to annihilate Black people. And he want to lump in Asians. And when there was a Stop Asian Hate, they wasn't saying, you know what, Black people are really feeling the sting on hate too. There's like Stop Asian Hate, and they stopped there. You know what I mean? But when they say people of color, what the hell does that even mean? That means they lumped anybody in there. So now when they say people of color, now it's turning to anybody not Black. I've seen Indian people that never Dominicans. No, I'm not Black, Poppy. I see Nigerians, Jamaicans, all this stuff. I'm not Black. I'm Jamaican. Now with person of color, now what does that mean? All it means is non-white. So don't call me a person of color. And I don't know when color became like a badge of honor, but it's just a lot of weird stuff. And Al Sharpton is the driver. He's the driver of that. All he does is undermine us with his policies and with his rhetoric. They asked him, what did Biden do for Black folks? He was like, you gotta be happy. He got the Black press secretary, who she only got the job because Jen Psaki quit, a white woman. You know what I mean? He said, oh, he got Kamala Harris and Judge Ketanji Brown. What symbolism? No substance. And if we're in a population with other ethnic groups, we got to compare ourselves. Would you know, the Asian community be happy with just settling for a representation and like kind of like a lame duck politician? No, you don't hear them like, crying until it's time to get some tangibles. All these other groups say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and then just look at the money that's being handed out. Have you seen the billions that went to Ukraine? Tell Ukraine to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Oh, it's so sad. It's sad what's happening in Chicago. Y'all love to bring up Chicago, right? Isn't it? What I'm supposed to be more worried about what's happening in Chicago or Ukraine. You know what I mean? And you seen how Ukrainians was treating those Africans over there. You seen how they was treating the Africans. So it's like, I mean, what are we talking about? I had to go on a little harangue, bro, but I'm gonna mute up and let you opine on what I just said.
No. I use the facts because I've been saying that for such a long time. I mean, even before I had an awakening, I've been saying we just need to take care of ourselves, man. I'm not waiting on no saviors. I really believe we need to focus on Chicago's and the Philadelphia's and the Los Angeles and clean up our own streets. But this assimilation is a drug, man. It's really a drug. And
bro, while we're trying to assimilate with other groups, they're trying to segregate from us.
Yeah, it's shit. I don't even think segregate. We have no value to them at all because we're niggas. We are entertainment value only.
Facts.
We are. I mean, I'm not calling them out, but the first thing Devin Haney did was brag about his jewelry. He didn't give a speech about his father helping him. He didn't. Whatever. Tank Davis. He bragged about having $1.8 million worth of jewelry on national TV. I saw an advertisement today for the Boxing Voice. They had a picture of him with his jewelry. They didn't have the 4 belts promoting the show. No, I'm not. There's no slight to them, but I'm saying that's the reality of how they portray us.
It is. And we're complicit with it too, because we're being socially engineered and brainwashed to what this is acceptable. This is the cultural norm. And then when you buck that system of the cultural norm, then people are like, damn, he ain't no real nigga. Like, is you really from? Oh, he ain't with it. So it's a mythical title that no one could truly define what it is, right? People want to be labeled and revered as a real nigga, but then when you ask them what that is, they can't really say it, right? So I could be a real nigga because I'm out here putting work in the streets and bodying cats left and right. Until I body your cousin, then what? I'm not a real nigga? No, keep the same energy. I'm still a real nigga, right? I just happened to body your cousin, right? No. He was a real nigga up until the point that he bodied one of your family members. You see the contradictory?
No,
the contradiction is what I meant.
I definitely get it. I actually listened to Ricky Williams today on the Pivot, and I had a chance to listen to the whole interview, and he was.
Hold on, just so we clear, is that the one that you're talking about? He took his wife's last name, the football player.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was just right. He took his wife's first. But yeah, he's the one that wore a dress and he was married.
Exactly, for his coach.
Yeah, it was disgusting. But I'm making reference for him because he's the most popular person I thought of, and he said that they called him an Oreo cookie because of his dialect, how he sounded. And
who is the they that he's referring to?
He's talking about black people in his community.
Okay.
And that correlates to what you speak of. Someone DM'd me. I think it was Tone Brown. He DM'd me, and he said, "It's sad we live in a community where if you rob a nigga, you a real nigga. If you pimping 10 hoes, you a real nigga. If you a blood, if you a crip, you go viral. Gang banging is on the internet now, y'all. Jay Prince is threatening another grown man. Welcome to the show. What's up? I just mentioned you earlier. Knowledge born our lives. It's theater, as you told us during COVID. Jay Prince is on the internet being a gangbanger, being a black mafia. I said, So I said, this is just
And you
crazy.
know what?
This is crazy.
And you know what? This is me coming from having a street background and doing let's just say a lot of nefarious shit. So I'm coming from a perspective where, bro, I'm out here in the Bay Area, bro, Oakland, San Francisco, where the business is at, bro, happening every night, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I used to, just be around all this depravity, and it was just like it was normal, a second nature, and you get rewarded for it, right? As sick and diabolical as you may think it is, where you like, man, why is he pimping hoes and stuff? These hoes keep coming, and these other chicks keep, they keep engaging and wanting to bust it open. Man, why is he out there hanging around with guns and dressing like this? He is getting women. He is getting notoriety from the hood. His parents was neglecting him.
Facts.
Everybody in the hood love him. He's popular at the school. There's rewards for it, even though they may be probably meaningless and frivolous to like the betterment of you, but a lot of these males, because we got to be careful with the title of man, right? Even like now, some people can't even define what a woman is, and we throw out the title of man so loosely. Man is the most prestigious title that you could hold, and everything that's the umbrella, and all your other titles come under that. And you have to preface with saying males, because not every male is a man. Male is your gender. Boys and men are both males. So we got to be able to carefully distinguish this even more now, because it's a lot of these quote unquote males that are suffering from Peter Pan syndrome, a perpetual cycle of them living like a little boy, right? Never really growing up, never wanting to grow up. And it's a lot of people. It's not just only the guys, but I say, especially on YouTube, but in social media, it's like a virtual high school. Everyone is trying to reclaim the glory that they once had in high school, right? Or even if you was the nerd, it's like the old school Jenny Jones show. They trying to go from geek to chic, right? People put in filters. And what is real? What you say, man, this is my standard of beauty. Is it though? Because I'm seeing people with these Betty Boop lashes, filters, duck lips, puffing up their lips, weave. You don't know what a beauty is. What is gangster? All somebody got to do is say, "Hey, bro, could I borrow your gun? Oh, you got 10,000? Let me hold that." I get on video for about 60 seconds. They say, "Man, he a real nigga. Did you see him flashing 10,000 and with the ooh-wop?" Now I go viral off of all basically a hoax, and now I have a persona of being some gangster drill rapper. All I got to do is make a song and keep up the same energy. Think about how dumbed down intellectually we are. Think about how, I'm sorry, but think about how weak we are right now. And this is not just me ranting. Look it up. There's lower testosterone levels, higher estrogen levels, men's hand strength is like, I think at least like 3 times less than it was of your ancestors. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk about that a lot in the shop. Yeah, man, I just sit back, getting back to my point about Jay Prince as it correlates to you. The man owns an island. The man owns an island, and he wants to come to the main shore, the mainland, and be a gangbanger, to be part of the black man. Please, man, come on.
Isn't
Man.
he like 62?
I don't know how old he is, but he's too entrenched. He still want to be a nigga. Like at some point, you got to say, man, that shit for the streets, man. You know what I mean? Like, he is battling. What's the guy's name? What's the game banger out here in LA that talks a lot? I haven't watched the video.
Whack 100.
Yeah, thank you. Whack 100. I just saw the titles on my YouTube page, and I'm sitting there like, so you now.
And Whack 100 is he's up there too. I mean, he's at least like in his late 40s.
Yeah, but he's different though. Like this is probably how he feeds his family. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's like a Takashi type of
Yeah, yeah. This how he
character.
feeds his
He
family, bro.
stirs up a lot of beef and
Yeah,
drama, so he does feed his family with all of that
yeah. Jay Prince
gossip.
bought an island. He brags about entrepreneurship. No, I wouldn't say brag. I don't mind it. He can brag as much as
He
he
owns a
wants.
record label
Owns a
and
rap a
I
lot
think like
record.
exactly.
Has a piece of Drake. His son has a piece of Drake. Scarface, all those guys. You won already. How much more respect can you get by? I don't know what he said, but he obviously wanted to fight or battle him because he says, I saw a title where he says he wants all the smoke. Like I'm like, come on, dog. Like you're a leader of men at this point. You know what I mean? Like let Whack 100 be Whack 100. No, Whack 100 can say anything he wants to say, and I wouldn't take it serious. Like it will be entertainment for me. He could say, "Man, I effed your mama." Okay, I'm not responding to him. You know what I mean? Like, like
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I know when I was younger, and I had a conversation. See, I don't know, like, is how much of society programs it and how much of your parental units program it. But when you growing up, in the hood or just around the streets and stuff, words are weapons, right? So the wrong thing, you feel me? Maybe in a certain suburb you could say whatever you want. In certain areas, a mama joke, you know what I mean? A mama joke could lead to hands or worse. I've seen people get scraped out for Jordans. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? So it's like we got to be careful with how we carrying ourselves and like how we talk to people, and then we let too many words get to us, right? Like where is the line? You know what I mean? Is it mama jokes? Is it are we fighting on every mama jokes? Is it N word? Is it nigga with the A? Is it the ER? You know what I mean? Like at some point, you got to be able to let some of that shit bounce off you. Because if every word trigger you, then are you even in control of your life? Anybody could just say a triggering word, and then you're gonna be ready to fight. And now cats is getting up in age. Once you get locked down, you going down 5 to 10. You know what I mean? You ain't no minor no more. You know what I mean? Even if you go down for 2 years, basically being a slave. You know what I mean? Come on now.
Yeah, I've said a lot on this show. One of my strengths as it pertains to the N is I grew up in New York. So it doesn't move, the N-word doesn't move me like people in California. Like if a Mexican say the N-word, I'll be like, oh well. Because I grew up around Puerto Ricans and Dominicans.
Nah,
Usually,
it's like that out here too. I know people down south that don't fly, but yeah, I want to do a whole stream about that too because it's a lot of cats that grow up. If you want to say niggas, I'm talking about in the hoods, Oakland, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, San Jose out here, these white boys, the Asians and stuff, they be growing up just like quote unquote the niggas. Like if you talk to them, they literally it's like niggas. Some of them is like more, well, whatever ratchet stuff you think about quote unquote black people, they just like that in worse. They grew up in the same condition. So not everybody is policing that word. But you do got to be careful with who you say it to and
sure.
how you
Everyone's
say
not
it.
the same. We're not monolithic as it pertains to the N-word. We're definitely not. But the fact that they glorify and accept and want to be validated by the worst of us basically tells us where we're at as a collective.
They gave Precious an award. I didn't even need to see the movie, but I know the movie is disgusting. And some people are like, hey, maybe they wanted to see it. But to me, just from what I've seen and what I know about it, it was disgusting. And the people who giving out the awards, oh my God, it was riveting. We love Precious. Like, is that the best that we could have done? That movie gets an award and they getting Grammys and stuff for Precious. That's what I'm saying. Black depravity sells. They got I know Bone Thug spoke about it, JT the Bigger Figure, Papoose. They said they was offering them millions. And they was like, look, we want to go this direction with their album. And they like, now we don't. They said, man, in a roundabout way, that Black Death sells. You could talk about, you know, the Holocaust in your rap. That's not gonna sell. You know what I mean? You could talk about all of this Latino crime. And the thing is, everybody signs up for black on black, quote unquote crime. I don't even like using that term, but so I'll just say Black Death and Black depravity. Everyone, so we influence and promote it, and everyone else buys it. Because, you know, we bootlegging it, right? Man, we love Kendrick. Kendrick slaps. I'm like, did you buy the album? No, my Lil June downloaded it from me. I'm like, bro, I thought you loved Kendrick, right? Kendrick is the greatest. You won't even spend for the greatest, right? But the Mexican bought it. The white boy bought it. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Kendrick talks about all of that stuff. I know he has a balance, but I'm just saying they buy all of that stuff, and then we bootleg it, and then we say this person is the best. I'm like, cool, you bought his album, right? Well, nah.
You're spitting facts. And I totally appreciate you coming in, man. Don't be a stranger. We appreciate you.
Bro, I just found your page, bro. As soon as I get off, I'm about to sub for sure.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing to yours too. So thank you. Yeah, for sure. Drop the link in the chat.
But yeah, I would love for the other young brother to chime in, because you know I get real heated with these discussions. I got a lot to say, but I do enjoy being in the presence of, you know, brilliant minds. That's how you create the mastermind. Your mind alone is not enough. You know what I mean?
Fact.
What's going on, Big Fred?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. We about to get out of here now. It's 9:40. What's up? What you got, Kyle?
No, I wanted to talk about Al Sharpton, man. The biggest,
Oh, go ahead. Take your time.
The biggest crook, man. Man, but he could talk. He could talk his ass off, Fred.
Annie?
He could talk his ass. Hey, I seen him preach before.
Oh,
man.
Live?
Live. That motherfucker get you so excited. He full of shit, but he gets you so excited. You know what I'm saying? He get you so happy. He get you so ready to go do something.
You got my milk.
Okay, I'll get your milk, baby. Give me a second. Yeah. The biggest fraud, man. The biggest fraud. And he's an informant.
Yeah.
So he can't be trusted.
Yeah, we talked about that before you came in. We showed the videos and stuff, man. But it's just a tragedy, man. It's just a tragedy that he's a leader in our community. And the fact that we have this information and we rather talk about the Tekashi 6ix9ine being a damn informant. How stupid are we?
And to be honest, I'm just only keeping it on Al Sharpton, but literally all of our black politicians are no different than Al Sharpton. No black politician could even say black. They have the Congressional Black Caucus. Go look at their mission statement, and they say, oh, they're trying to help people of color. Now then, go look at the Latino. They remember that they try to get blacks to say Black and Brown Alliance. It is no Black and Brown Alliance. When you talk to them, they say Hispanic and Latino. They don't want you to get confused that it's any alliance. When Asians go and get for something, they say stop Asian hate. They don't say blacks was affected too. They say no, we need this for us, you know, because not only did they get a bill, they got like hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, too. They got Jim Django Clyburn in South Carolina, been in there 30 years. He got one of the fourth poorest district in the country, and it's like basically majority black. He won't fight for reparations for blacks, but he fought for reparations for Indians. Bro, Indians got like protected class status. They got their own police. They got their own land allocated and stuff. They bring all these other immigrants over to displace us. What is Al Sharpton saying about it? What are any of these black politicians saying about it? None of them are saying nothing because most of the congressional black caucus is like, you know, a bunch of immigrants that came over, you know what I mean? Like, and that they're not necessarily fighting for the interests of, you know, black Americans that been here from the start, you know. They're the ones are like who are really dividing it. Like it's sad because you got to be on some anti-blackness to even get ahead, right? Kamala Harris said, I'm not going to do something that only benefits black people. She said that, but they write policies that only benefit. They wrote a policy that they asked Congress. Joe Biden said he wanted to give $33 billion to Ukraine. Congress gave him 40. Here's an extra 7. This ain't me just spouting. And then he was giving them hundreds of millions after that. During the height of the pandemic, they was just throwing out money. They gave out like, I think like 80 something million for renovations to the Kennedy Center. They gave 68 million to Pakistan for gender studies. Nobody has to take my word for it. Just look it up. We have no money for blacks. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Right? If you just even mention the word reparations, you don't even got to believe in it. Just talk to some of your black friends, your other friends. I never owned any slaves and all that. Bro, I didn't fly no planes in the 9/11. My tax on 9/11, my taxpayer dollars had to pay for that, right? You know, my ancestors didn't put any Japanese in internment camps. Their taxpayer dollars had to pay for that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be bombing all these other countries. My taxpayer dollars pay for that. So people try to play this, oh, my taxpayer dollar stuff. They only say that when it comes for anything with blacks. So they're simultaneously saying, pull yourself up by your bootstrap while asking for handouts. When it was those PPP loans, why was people saying, no, I'm gonna pull myself up by my bootstrap. I don't want no check from the government. That's some socialism. What did they do? I'm gonna sign up for that check from the government. Huh? I thought that was socialism. I thought y'all pull yourself up by your bootstrap. How? And look, I'm not saying anyone shouldn't be passing on inheritance to your son, but like, why are you even giving your son anything, right? Why just let him go be by himself? Let him pull himself by his bootstrap. But no, you know that you want to set him up for success so that for the betterment of, you know, his family and society. But when it comes to blacks, like, no one gets that because you guys are just welfare recipients when it's more white people that receive welfare. It's more immigrants, bro. Like the majority of immigrants come over and suck all the resources up, and people will say build the wall. The same people saying build the wall is hiring those immigrants. Those are driving your wages down. You know what I mean? And because they come on cold and maintain their language and culture, they'll live five people in one house, 10 people in one house. And here we are divided, single parent homes. You're paying rent in one home. The baby mama is paying rent in one home. Your mama is in one home. You know what I mean? Like, so we got to wake up and stop following these politicians. We need to follow people like this channel and have conversations like this, because really we all we got, you know what I mean? I love everybody because I'm a humanitarian, and individually, you know, I got some writers from other ethnic groups, but collectively we don't. People don't understand. People understand what a race is. The objective of the race is to win. So if racism is a system, you know, under racial hierarchy, people are racing to the top for resources, power, control, and a certain level of dominance, and to be able to call the shots, set the standards, and subjugate others at will. Everyone else seems to understand this except blacks. Everyone seems to have bent the knee to, white supremacy as long as they're above blacks. If they wasn't doing nothing for blacks when it was just blacks and whites, they're not gonna do nothing for us when they have all these other tether classes and immigrant groups displacing us. We got to do this stuff for ourselves. I'm not waiting around praying and hoping that they get reparations. But we definitely do deserve it. To say that we don't is asinine. But yeah, I'm not holding my breath for it. And, you know, I'm not waiting to say, hey, if I don't get this in my lifetime, my life would be a failure. I'm trying to educate as many people in the youth, so, you know, my people don't just get, you know, completely extinct without a fight.
You're right, man. We appreciate you beaming in. We got to get the hell out of here. I got Jason coming in, man. Don't be a stranger. Be easy.
Yes, sir. I must pop back in here, man. Thank you for letting me come up here.
Time. Yep, Sunday to Thursday.
Okay.
Appreciate you, big homie. What's up, Jason?
There's a show that comes on right after this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the boxing section. Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you.
Hold on. You said you got another show?
Go
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kyle.
It's called the boxing section, so we can pull up. We got the
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do I find it?
The boxing section.
Yeah.
Okay, the boxing section.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Thank
Appreciate
you, brothers, man. Have a good night. I'm gonna try to pull up on that one. I'm a sub to you right now, though.
Please do. Please do.
Appreciate it.
That's love.
Peace.
What's up, Jason?
Nah, I was tuning in because I never got a chance to congratulate Devin Haney on.
Sure, he deserves it.
Yeah, on the tough task that he did, because it was tough to go over to Australia and do what he do, and I have concerns whether his pops was coming out there or not. So I know that was a major distraction. So that showed that he could do it with everything on the line. You feel me? Even though George Kambosos wasn't the toughest opponent, but now I want to see him either fight Loma or Tank.
I mean, he did it, though. He did it, and I think that's super impressive. You know, to do it behind enemy lines and come out with the girl. That's beautiful.
And another thing is, I want to see him. I want to see him stop comparing himself to Floyd a lot, because
fuck Floyd. Like, yeah, man, I agree.
Did y'all watch the Boxing Voice?
Nah, I didn't, bro. And I got to start tuning into your show because
he talks about like not comparing himself to Floyd.
I mean, he did it.
He said that out of his own mouth.
Yeah.
He did it this past fight though, bro. So
he bought the jewelry, so I mean, he still want to be like
definitely. He definitely bought the jewelry, like you said, Fred. And
sounds good though.
It definitely sounds good. That's just talk. And one person who said it was Jerome Ennis. He said, "I'm not Floyd. I'm Jerome Ennis." You get what I'm saying? That's the type of mentality you gotta have as a boxer. You can't be comparing yourself to another man out here. That's tight feminine energy. Yeah. So, but I want congratulate him and hope that he continue to keep being great.
Yeah,
you really can't.
He will. I mean, he's fine as a fighter.
That's a fact. I was gonna say you really
don't,
can't set up no fighter like that.
He's one or two, man. Depends on your perspective. I think that, he's one or two. I don't know if you like Tank or if you like Loma. He's not number 3. I think he's either one or two because of what he really accomplished is just. I mean. I'm not talking about the belts. I'm just talking about
opponents.
He has a tougher resume than Tank.
Matter of fact, I got Loma 1
and Loma. He may have a tougher resume than Loma because they
all don't. Loma
beat
Gary Russell.
Man, Loma just got his ass whooped, bro.
Loma beat Gary Russell, bro. And that TO fight, I felt he won that TO fight, bro.
Get the fuck out of here.
I felt he beat him in the later rounds, bro. He only do shit the later rounds.
I don't know if he won the fight, but he won the last 5 out of 6 rounds.
He did, right?
4 out of 5, you know. So,
well, he gave up 7 rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't do shit.
Yeah, really.
He didn't do shit the first half of the fight. You right. Teal won, but he barely won by the skin of his teeth. He won by the skin of his teeth, bro.
Yeah. Who cares? So who cares?
But Loma beat Gary Russell though, bro.
Loma beat Gary Russell.
Yes.
He barely beat Gary. And if they would have called that, if he knocked Gary Russell knocked him down and they didn't call the knockdown, that changes the whole fight. He beat Gary Russell by like 2 rounds.
You right. But Loma took tough fights, bro. Regardless, bro. He reminded me of a throwback fighter. He took tough fights. You can't take that away from him, bro.
He took one tough fight, bro.
What you mean? A lot of his fights was tough.
All right, give me 3.
Luke Campbell.
Trash.
Linares.
Yeah.
Gary Russell.
Good.
Shalito.
Trash.
What you mean? He a tough, rugged fighter.
Trash.
He a tough,
Shalito
rugged
was
fighter,
trash,
bro.
bro.
He's not a tough, rugged fighter. Tio.
We gotta see what T.O. does when he comes back.
So all Devin Haney opponents is trash then.
How you figure that?
Because he fought who Loma fought. Linares, Luke Campbell. No, not Luke Campbell. He fought nah, he didn't. Matter of fact, I'm bugging. My fault. I don't know. Devin, I guess I put Devin number 1 then.
Devin is number 1. I would say Devin is right now for sure, without a shadow of a doubt. Loma lost. Teofimo lost.
Twice. Loma lost twice.
Yeah. Loma lost twice. Tank hasn't fought real opponents. And who else? That's it. So yeah, Devin's definitely number 1 at 35. I mean, it's not even close.
Tank not even gonna fight real opponents. That's the sad thing.
Now he's gonna be the Washington Generals versus NBA team, whatever it is. That's Harlem Globetrotters. He's the Harlem Globetrotters of boxing. For real. Just keeping it a buck.
He puts on an event, Fred.
He's an event, yeah. That's all it is.
Event.
It's an event. Sports and entertainment.
Think about this, bro.
Uh-huh.
Devin Haney has all the belts. You ain't seen Tank, Ryan Garcia come out and say they want Dev.
Facts. That's facts.
I thought I seen a show with you saying that Tank wanted Dev.
Oh yeah, he did say that last week. He ain't said it this week.
Yeah.
He definitely ain't said it this week. But
he said that trying to be, trying to bravado.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't mean that shit.
Yeah.
Because if he meant it, he'd have signed with Top Rank.
Yo, Tank looked small as fuck in that fight, bro.
He looks tiny, right? He did look short. Right?
It looked like he could get knocked out in that fight
right,
at any moment, bro.
Right. Facts.
He wasn't gonna lose to no damn Rolly, man.
I know he wasn't gonna lose, but like compared to another fighter, bro, like he looked small as hell. Like Floyd could have shot him. Like if Floyd wanted him to lose, he could have put him up against anybody how small he looked, bro.
All right, what you got, Kane? Before we get out of here, man. I'm putting in overtime.
No, what I wanted to say third was, if you're gonna end up watching more of those videos when you're driving your kids later, the guy does good stuff. Franzese.
I'm about to listen to him. Yeah, probably in the morning because I'm gonna check out Kyle right now. So in the morning.
And then if you can end up checking out both Devin Haney interviews today, he had like
he did too.
He had the Boxing Voice one in studio. That was like 2 hours.
That's dope.
And then earlier in the day, he was on Area Hawani's show for like 30 minutes.
Who?
The MMA reporter.
You know what Devin should do? And I was gonna text Mr. Haney this, but I just got caught up. Hopefully he's listening because I'm probably not gonna text him this. But every American media member that went out there to cover the fight, he needs to give them a 10-minute interview. He really does, because that plane ticket.
Spent their money out there.
That plane ticket is $1,700, $1,500.
They spent their hard-earned money to go support him. Not really support him, but I mean they went out there to cover the fight.
And he needs to call them or DM them and say, "Man, I would love to do an interview with you, man. I just want to go on your platform and tell your supporters thank you for supporting me. And guess what? You got them for life. At 10 minutes, you get that whole platform for the rest of your life. Kind of like what Earl Spence did. He got this platform for the rest of his life, right?
Right. The same thing Haney did with
it's the little things, man. It's the real little things, and I want Devin to win. I just don't like Tank Davis and Devin Haney. The first thing they do is buy jewelry. I don't like that shit. I don't like it because we've seen this shit too many times, And
and Devin mentioned that in the area of Hawaii. Ariel asked him about it. He asked him.
That's
He's
good.
like,
I'm glad someone asked him about it
and
because
he's like, he said that he doesn't really show off. He said in the boxing voice too, which didn't really make too much sense. He's like, I don't really show off money. He's like, but I mean, he's showing off the jewelry. That's like kind of weird.
All right, you got to show us now. Now I get to hold him. Now I get to hold him accountable to his words instead of how I feel. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I love when I can use people quotes. You know, that's a journalist in front of me. I ain't got to say it no more. Devin Haney said. You know what I mean? I'll watch that interview tomorrow. I'll watch it tomorrow because I want to support the boxing boys. They support here. You know, so I'll definitely watch that tomorrow when I take the kids to school. So, but yeah, between that and that. So, all right, let's get out of here, man. I appreciate you. Everybody going over to the boxing section, man. I totally appreciate. Thank you, Jason, for coming in, man. We missed you, man. You ain't been here in a couple of days, man. I appreciate you, big homie. Let's get out.
Kylie, come here.
Oh yeah, and then shout out to Kyle's nigga chain. Shout out to the Kyle's nigga chain.
Oh, it's come around.
Excuse me. What's up, DJ? Appreciate you, man. I truly appreciate y'all coming here, man. Hey, beautiful. She got the bonnet on. It's bedtime. It's bedtime.
You heard her?
What you say?
Play the
there
song.
it is. Gotcha, DJ Hustler Slim. I am Roderick Harper. We believe you. Deacon 305, what up, Roland? Sean, Kane, I appreciate y'all coming in here, man. Dana, appreciate you coming in, Roland, man. You know it's all love. Matt, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the show, man. Yeah, man. We gotta get our economics up, man. Get our economics up, man. The goal should be 30% of your income, man. You got 2 years to get 30% of your income. 30% of your income independent. You know what I mean? And we'll be good. Okay. E. Patton, Dana Jones, Jason. Hey, Kyle. I appreciate y'all coming in here, man. Thank you, big homie Coop. You know what I mean? I totally appreciate you. We got People Hernandez in the building. Tomorrow's Thursday, huh? I got a big meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
People Hernandez.
Yeah, man. If I get this movie, man, that'll be dope. So I get to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, man. Do the movie, adopt the high school. Yeah, man, that'll be
You
dope.
back from the lawyer yet?
What's up?
You hear back from the lawyer yet?
What'd you say?
Did you hear back from the lawyer?
Nah. Oh, we're supposed to talk today. It's not a rush though. It's not a rush. It's definitely not a rush. We ain't got a rush. It's not something that I got to talk to him immediately. You know what I mean? I can talk to him next week, next month. It ain't gonna change anything. Not at all. So it could be next year. I'm not in a rush. I'm gonna have fun with it. You know what I mean? So. It's for the children. Also, Fred, before you get off, what's up? What was the fight that he said was fixed? Jerry Cooney and Larry Holmes. Jerry Cooney got knocked out in that fight. I wish I would have known. I'm probably not going to see Jerry Cooney again. You know, he goes to all the East Coast fights. I would love to get his perspective on it in 2022 because it may be different than the interviews he did in the 80s. You know what I mean? That'll be cool. So next week, I'm going to start doing my interviews, man. I'm going to set up my background somehow, some way. You know, we'll do something with it. So
we hanging up all the pictures at?
It won't be in the shot. It's going to be in the office somewhere. So I want to get like a poster of my movie and put it on the because that's a curtain right there. So maybe I'll put it on the curtain or something. Get a billboard or something. A poster, excuse me. Because the devil is a lie. Eh. Yeah. Love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. See y'all tomorrow, man. I like these topics, man. I like these topics. We sprinkle in a little bit of boxing and we talk a lot about life, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Love y'all. See y'all tomorrow.